In this video, I'm going to go through with you guys 5 reasons why you're not gaining weight and you want to get to a certain weight. You want to, you want to increase your strength. You want to put on mass, but you can't do that. And I'm going to go through these 5 reasons exactly why that's the case. And if you stay till the end of the video, well, if you actually watch fully, then I'm going to go through with each of the 5 reasons, ways you can combat them and overcome these things. And it's just going to make the weight gain process a whole lot easier for you. Just before we get into this video, I'm just going to briefly introduce myself. So my name's Ryan, I'm a 19-year-old, and if you can't tell by my accent already, I'm from the UK, and I have gone under a physical transformation over the past 3 years, and this was me in 2021, and I've completely transformed myself in 2024, and I'm on a mission to help skinny young men do the exact same thing and strive and work towards achieving their dream physique if they don't know where to start, etc. Let's get into this video. So first of all, before I go into these reasons, you need to actually understand how the main thing you need to do to actually gain the weight, right? Because without this, then these 5 reasons why you're not gaining weight, they're going to be completely irrelevant, because you need to actually know, you need to know the basics and the first building block of how to actually gain the weight. And that is through, you have to eat in a caloric surplus. And what I mean by this is you have to eat in excess to what your body actually needs. So, for example, there's different levels to dieting, right? So you've obviously got your deficit, which is completely irrelevant in this video, and that's eating less than your body needs to lose weight, right? And you've got your maintenance calories, so the amount you eat every day to stay at the same weight. And what you guys want to do is you want to eat in a surplus, so you need to eat in excess to what your body actually needs. So what I mean by this is, if your maintenance calories for the day is 2,000 calories, so if you eat 2,000 calories, you'll stay at the same weight you're at now, right? And what you want to do is, obviously, you need to eat more than that because you want to gain weight. You don't want to stay at the same weight and stay in the same situation you're in, right? So what you need to do is to eat 150 to 350 calories, I'd say, in excess to that, depending on how aggressive your bulk is. I mean, that's not much of a difference, but, depending on how much you actually want to put on and the period of time you're setting yourself, and that's the sort of range you want to eat in excess to your maintenance calories. And you can find your maintenance calories on calorie counters on the internet. You can put in your details and stuff, and over time, the more you train, the more you'll sort of get to know your body. But at your stage as a skinny young man, you may not know that. So what I would suggest is going online, putting your details in a calorie counter, your weight. It will ask you different stuff, and it will give you your calories, your caloric intake you would need to intake to maintain your weight, and you want to eat 150 to 350 calories and a little surplus to that. So enough of the waffling and let's get into it. So the first thing that you need to be aware of, and the first reason you may not be gaining weight, is because you may be inaccurately estimating the calories you're eating on a day-to-day basis. And this is super, super important, because if you think you're eating what you need to actually grow and to gain the mass and gain the weight you need, but you're stepping on the scales week after week and you're not seeing any progress, that's because you're not actually eating enough. And now what I would highly suggest to experiment this is eat what you would normally eat in a day and don't track it, and estimate how many calories that is. And what I would like you to do the next day is eat the exact same thing and track it, right? And you'll either see that you're not eating enough or you're surprisingly eating enough and you don't have a problem with this. So if you think you're eating 3,000 calories in a day, you may be eating 2,500 calories, but you don't know it. And how on earth is that going to gain you weight, right? If 3,000 calories is what you need to hit surplus, but you're eating 2,500, maybe a little bit difficult for you. A way to do this, there's so many apps, but the one I would highly suggest for you is through MyFitnessPal, because it has so many different types of foods from different shops logged in, so it's really easy. You can type it on your phone. I've been using it for my cut, but that's completely irrelevant, and it will just make sure and ensure that you're eating enough, right? And it will identify if you're not, and that is a huge, huge step of you identifying that you're not eating enough towards combating that. Eat what you're eating for a day, but don't track it, and then the next day track it, and then you'll actually see, and then you'll have to realise what you actually have to do. You might have to fit in an extra 1 or 2 meals, for example. Okay, so by saying you've got to fit that last meal in, that perfectly links with my second reason why you're not gaining weight and what you have to overcome. So skinny young men tend to have a fast metabolism, and what this basically means is you burn calories very easily, whether you're resting, whether you're doing physical activity, you just burn calories. Therefore, it's a lot harder for you to gain weight, because you have to actually eat more, and because you burn calories more quickly and faster and more efficiently, you have to eat more in order to balance it out and get in that surplus to increase weight. So I get that it's very, very hard for skinny young men to gain weight at first, and it was definitely hard for me at first as well. But I got round it, and this is one of the ways I got round it. So in order to combat fast metabolism, what you need to do is you need to actually be smart about the foods you're eating. Eat them caloric dense foods. You know, consume liquid calories. Liquid calories are so easy to consume, and they take minimal effort, and you know, your appetite won't fully disappear because it's liquid calories. It won't be as filling as other foods. So you need to make sure you're eating caloric dense foods. So smaller portions, bigger calories, but obviously still healthy for you, right? So for example, pesto pasta and just pasta with anything like meatballs, for example, that is a very calorie dense meal, and it'll be a lot easier for you to gain weight eating pasta and meatballs than it would eating steak and rice, because steak and rice can be quite filling and it's not actually very high calories, and that is the type of foods you need to be eating on a carb, but that's not the point in this video. So what you need to be eating to combat your fast metabolism is caloric dense foods, liquid calories, and you'll be perfectly fine, such as pesto pasta and mass gainer protein shakes with higher calories and carbs and fats and obviously higher protein and all of that good stuff. So that's the second reason why you're not gaining weight and how you can overcome that. So yeah, just make sure you're eating your caloric and nutrient dense foods. There we go, I got there in the end. Now we get on to the third reason why you may not be gaining weight and how we're going to overcome this situation to get you towards your desired situation. This actually perfectly links with what I was saying in the second one in terms of being smart about what foods you eat. So you may have a lack of protein consumption in your diet, and this is so important because, as you know, or as you may not know, protein is basically the essential macronutrient in order to grow your muscles, right? Because what the process that happens inside your body in order to grow your muscles after a workout and after you consume protein is muscle protein synthesis. And what this actually is new muscle proteins are created in your muscles, therefore allowing your muscle tissues to repair and grow. So that's basically how your muscles grow. And the more protein you eat, the more efficiently and the better this process can happen. So you're literally just increasing your chances of increasing your muscle mass as soon as possible, which can contribute to weight gain. So just make sure you're consuming your protein, high protein. Obviously, as you're trying to gain weight, you want to have your carbs as well. So high protein, high carbs, and your healthy fats. And you're gonna gain weight, and you're still going to be relatively lean. So just make sure you increase your protein consumption through things such as protein shakes, and as you're wanting to gain weight, mass gainers, chicken, beef, eggs. For my breakfast on the bulk, when I bulk, I have 6 eggs, 2 bits of toast, and some smoked salmon, and that is just a perfect breakfast, right? So yeah, just make sure you're increasing your protein consumption, and that will definitely help you to contributing and that will definitely help you gain weight. On to the final 2 reasons, right? So you may have an inconsistent eating pattern, and what I mean by this is you may be skipping your meals, and you may be not hitting your caloric goal every single day, and it's completely fine to not hit it every single day, because that can take a little bit of a toll on the body if you're honestly eating all the time and getting to that goal every day. But you're not hitting it enough, right? And that can honestly have a really big effect on whether you maintain maintain your rate of weight gain or not, and it just makes it so much more difficult to actually get to that surplus. And you may be halfway through meals and you're like, fuck this, right? And that just leads back to me talking about being smarter with what you eat. But yeah, that goes back to that reason. But having an inconsistent eating pattern is it's very bad, because it just makes it so much more difficult for you to actually gain weight, as I said, because it makes it harder for you to stick to your calorie goal and maintain a surplus. So how to actually counteract this, right? This is really bad, because to make progress in life, in any realm in life, you need consistency, especially if you want to gain weight. If you're not hitting your caloric goal and you're not staying in that surplus consistently, then how do you think you're going to gain weight? if a kid who really wanted to become a professional footballer didn't want to turn up to training 3 times a week when he should have, what are the chances of him making less and less and less progression? And what are the chances of him not becoming a professional footballer like he wants to? It's a lot higher. So if you want to gain weight, you have to stay in that surplus, and you've got to make sure of that. And in order to do this, I would say, find out what works best for you. So if you're better at consuming loads of little small meals that still have high calorie density, but just small meals, and that keeps you going, and you can eat and you still have an appetite through small meals, then do that. Or if you can't do that, then just have 3 fuck off huge meals, right? Just find out what works perfectly for you, because everyone's different, as I've said in so many videos. And that's another thing that's so important in understanding that everyone is different, okay? What works for your best mate might not work for you. It might not, you know? And if it doesn't, then you've got to find what's best for you, okay? So, yeah. And the other thing I'd say in terms of staying consistent is have times in the day where you actually eat meals, because obviously when you're bulking, you're going to have to eat more, and it will take a toll on you. And as I said, it's hard to stay consistent. So having a schedule helps maintain that consistency so much easier. So for example, you may want to eat breakfast at 7 in the morning, and then have meal 2 at 11:30, and then meal 3 at 3. And then meal 3 at 3 o'clock, and then meal 4 at 5:30, and then meal 5 at 8 o'clock, and so on and so forth. It just creates that structure, and it actually, the more you do it, the more your body's gonna your body's gonna know when you've got to eat. So it just helps psychologically, knowing that, oh, I've got to eat now, and this is a time where I should feel hungry, and it will just be a lot easier to you know get rid of those inconsistent eating patterns and make them consistent and stay in that surplus, etc., etc. So that's the 4th reason why you're not gaining weight, and how you can overcome that. And then in addition to that, another thing, your training pattern may be inconsistent. You may not be going to the gym every time you should be, and when your body feels like it needs a rest but it actually doesn't, you're resting, and you're not going to the gym when you should be, and you're skipping your leg days, for example. And that is further going to contribute to you not being able to gain the muscle and the weight you want to gain. So making sure you're locking in on your eating patterns and your training patterns is super, super important. And I know, as a skinny young man trying to gain weight at first, that is very hard. And I do not expect you to, have an amazing diet and stick in that caloric surplus range every single day, right? But the more you do it, and the more your body gets used to it, the easier everything's going to be for you, and the more you're actually going to turn out to enjoy it, right? So just making sure you're getting that consistency and getting past that first little stage of where it may be a little bit hard. It'll get a lot easier for you, don't worry. And now on to the last reason why you may not be gaining weight, and that is because you may have a lack of recovery time and a lack of sleep. And this is essential because during sleep, that's when growth hormone is most prominent to be produced, right? So if you're lacking on sleep and you're not getting enough sleep, then you're missing out on that growth hormone production, which can make it harder for you to recover your muscles, therefore making it harder to grow and increase your muscle mass how you want to, and increase your weight as you want to. So making sure you're getting enough sleep is super, super important. And a way to combat this is to get between 7 and 8 hours of sleep a day. That's like the perfect optimal time everyone says to. And to ensure you're getting your healthy sleep, make sure you don't have technology by your bed. Have your phone charger away from your bed, okay? I have recently started to do this, and it's just made my sleep a lot more healthy because I don't have that blue light on me at night, and it's just so much easier. So making sure you're optimizing your sleep is actually super, super, super important for muscle growth, and especially for weight gain. And now, making sure you have enough rest days and recovery days from the gym is so important, because without allowing your muscles to recover and giving your muscles less time to recover, that decreases the rate of the process I was talking about earlier, muscle protein synthesis, where you produce new muscle proteins, which allows your tissues to repair and grow. That will go down because you're not giving your muscles the recovery time it needs. Therefore, how do you think your muscles are going to grow? Which I have talked about in previous videos and in my last video as well. So it is so important. And the final 2 things that this can lead to is a reduction in energy levels, so your motivation to train and your desire to train, and your motivation to push yourself hard may go down, so you want to take it easy for a day. Well, that is just not, you don't want to be doing that, because that won't lead to as efficient muscle growth and weight gain. It's okay to take it easy on occasions, and I'm going to talk about that in another video, so stay around, but you need to know when and when not. So yeah, as I said, I'm going to talk about that in another video. But making sure you go into the gym with the right mindset, and the mindset that you want to fucking push yourself, is super, super important if you want to make some optimal gains, my friend. And I would suggest for recovery, going to the gym no more than 5 days a week. I hope that clears it up for you. And yeah, don't go to the gym for no longer than 5 days a week, because you need to let your muscles recover and have them 2 rest days. And sometimes you may not want to go to the gym even 5 days. You may need another day off, which is completely fine. 4 days a week, that's completely fine. As long as your muscles are recovered by the time you train, then that's perfectly fine. And and having optimal sleep and recovery is going to contribute to you having more efficient muscle and weight gain. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and truly, truly learned some stuff. I hope you guys have taken away all of these points, and if any of these relate to you, then please fix them, as I've told you how to combat them. Take action, don't procrastinate, and you're going to see the weight gain you want, and you're going to see the muscle gain you want, and progression is just going to be amazing, and it's a win-win situation. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate it if you drop a like and a comment for potential future ideas to help you skinny young men achieve your dream physiques, and obviously a subscription to recommend the to help the algorithm, boost me to your recommended more. So I will see you guys in the next video.